Welcome to TruthScope, your ultimate stop for all things auto and trade insights. Today we're diving into a brewing trade war between Canada and China that goes far beyond standard tariffs. This escalating standoff has evolved into a multifaceted conflict, spanning critical sectors like agriculture, automotive manufacturing, and raw materials. As the tensions rise, the ripple effects are reshaping industries, disrupting supply chains, and putting consumer prices and economic stability at risk. This is not just another trade dispute, it's a high-stakes battle with far-reaching consequences for both nations. In this breakdown, we'll explore 7 key factors driving this conflict and unpack their implications for Canada's economy. From electric vehicles to agriculture, we'll cover it all. Let's jump in. Canada's bold decision to impose a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles has become a flashpoint in this trade war. The Trudeau administration justifies this measure by accusing China of flooding the market with cheap EVs, undermining Canada's manufacturing sector. This move aims to protect domestic industries but has sparked significant debate. On one side, it's seen as a necessary step to foster a robust local EV market and shield Canadian manufacturers from unfair competition. On the other hand, critics argue it might stifle the nation's green energy goals, with the Canadian EV market expected to reach a staggering $100 billion by 2026. These tariffs risk making EVs less affordable for consumers, slowing adoption rates at a critical juncture for climate change initiatives. Furthermore, ethical concerns surrounding China's labor practices add another layer of complexity. Is Canada safeguarding its economic future or inadvertently putting its role in the EV revolution at risk? In a swift and strategic response, China turned its sights on one of Canada's most vital agricultural exports, canola. Accounting for more than half of Canada's canola sales, this sector is now in jeopardy as China launched an anti-dumping investigation, accusing Canada of selling canola at unfairly low prices. The fallout was immediate and severe. Canola futures plummeted by 7%, while rapeseed prices climbed by 6%. Farmers are increasingly worried that losing access to the Chinese market, a lifeline for their industry, could have long-lasting repercussions. Despite calls for government intervention, entrenched political tensions suggest a resolution may not come soon. With the Canola Council of Canada sounding the alarm, the stakes are high for an industry crucial to the livelihoods of thousands of Canadians. Canada's imposition of a 25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum further inflamed tensions. These measures were introduced to combat unfair pricing and questionable labor practices, but are having unintended consequences across key industries. Steel and aluminum are essential to sectors like automotive manufacturing, construction, and infrastructure development. By raising the cost of these materials, businesses reliant on them are struggling to manage increased expenses. The result? Higher prices for vehicles, appliances, and even homes. These tariffs could exacerbate inflation, delay supply chains, and hinder Canada's economic recovery, especially as the nation still grapples with the aftershocks of the COVID-19 pandemic. The agricultural sector is bearing a significant burden in this escalating trade war. China's focus on Canadian canola could soon expand to other crucial exports, such as barley, pork, and wheat, potentially wiping out billions in revenue. This spells trouble for rural communities where agriculture is the backbone of local economies. For Canada, losing access to China, the second largest market for its agricultural products, could lead to long-lasting economic damage. Even if tensions ease, rebuilding lost market share will be an uphill battle that may take years, leaving farmers in a precarious position. Many are calling for immediate government action, but with no quick resolution in sight, the economic scars on Canada's agricultural sector could be deep and enduring. While farming and manufacturing are getting the most attention, the average Canadian is also feeling the impact of this trade conflict. With tariffs on electric vehicles, steel, and aluminum, the cost of making these products is rising, and businesses are passing those higher costs on to consumers. As a result, everyday goods are becoming more expensive, and things like electric cars, which are already pricier than traditional gas-powered cars, are becoming harder to afford. This price hike isn't just limited to vehicles. Steel and aluminum are used in many products, from food cans to household appliances. As a result, the cost of living for Canadians is expected to go up, putting even more pressure on household budgets. If this trade dispute isn't resolved soon, Canadians could face even more financial challenges in the months ahead. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is betting that his tariffs on China will help hold the country accountable for issues like labor and environmental practices. He wants to show that Canada won't back down to economic pressure. But this strategy comes with big risks. Relations between Canada and China have been tense ever since the arrest of Huawei's CFO Meng Wanzhou in 2018. This trade war only makes things worse. China is Canada's second-largest trading partner, and any further retaliation from China could hurt the economy even more. Trudeau's strong position might gain some support, but the long-term consequences of this trade war could damage both countries diplomatically and economically. The impact of this trade war goes beyond just Canada and China. It's affecting global trade. Countries around the world, especially in agriculture and car manufacturing, are watching this closely. The outcome could shape how future trade disputes are handled. In Europe, for example, China has started investigating European exports like pork, dairy, and brandy in retaliation for the EU's actions against Chinese electric cars. This cycle of retaliation shows how fragile international trade can be. Canada is trying to reduce its dependence on China by forming new trade agreements like the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. However, if the tensions continue, it could lead to broken global trade ties, leaving Canada in a more vulnerable position. As the trade war continues, neither Canada nor China seems willing to back down. Canada is firm in its stance against unfair trade practices, while China is equally determined to protect its interests. Both countries stand to lose a lot if this trade dispute doesn't end soon. For Canada, losing access to China's massive consumer market would be a huge blow. For China, Canada's agricultural exports, like canola, are an important part of its food supply. The Canadian government is looking into ways to ease tensions through talks and meditation, but the future remains uncertain. One thing is clear: the longer this conflict goes on, the bigger the stakes become for both nations. In the end, it may come down to which country can handle the economic fallout better. As the situation develops, Canada faces a difficult choice: continue standing firm or try to find a way to compromise for a more secure economic future. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to TruthScope for more updates and deep dives into global issues. Stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.